Yo, what's up guys? It's Talon. Today I'm going to be showing you guys and teaching you guys how to play the hardest ADC in Wild Rift, which is Ezreal. And this video will kind of double as me teaching you guys how to play from behind as ADC and come back in a game that's not really going too well, because the game doesn't really start off super well and we kind of fall behind quite a bit of gold and then have some pretty crazy plays. I think there's some really fun plays to watch later on in the game that are pretty entertaining as well. So we really pop off in this game, and I think it'll be entertaining to show you guys. Starting off with Ezreal, so just, again, pretty much the hardest ADC in the game in my opinion because of the skill shot reliance of the champion. You really have to have really good aim, you have to have good reaction with your third ability to really buff her abilities and everything like that. Starting off with the lane phase, the main thing for Ezreal is that you want to push really aggressively in the lane phase, because when you're able to push people under the turret and clear the minions, it makes it easier to land your skill shots. It's pretty hard to land a lot of skill shots in the wave. You can see out here, whenever the enemy kind of walk up for a last hit or for the wave, I'm sort of focusing on trying to get my first ability landed on them because they have to stand still to auto attack, and so that's a great way to make it a lot easier to land your skill shots. And then you see I'm kind of trying to sneak my Qs in through the wave, but generally speaking, focusing on controlling the wave and getting a lot of push early on in the lane, and then focusing on trying to get your first recall for your Gluttonous Greaves, which are the boots that I would typically recommend on Ezreal. Another thing is you can use your third ability, or when you have your third ability, you can play pretty aggressive because you essentially have a free flash. And then now, I'm never really using a third ability aggressive in this lane for the fact that they have an engaged champion with a really good all-in ADC. So my third ability is essentially whenever the enemy engage on me, I can use it to just escape really easily. Whereas if I was in a better lane matchup, I would play more aggressive with my third ability. So here, you're going to see a pretty nice combo too. You can third ability flash, and then you get the auto attack damage from the flash. And the reason that I'm happy to do this trade is because I'm going to get the kill, and Draven's not going to get the kill. So I know that I will get a lead on the enemy ADC, even if someone else gets the kill afterwards, so I know it's a good trade. And then the wave was also in a spot where it'll start pushing to me, so that's why I knew that that would be a really good trade to take in that scenario. Another important thing to understand as well about the build, typically you're going to start Gluttonous Greaves, then Manamune. Usually you're going to build the Sapphire Crystal to start stacking up your Manamune. And then after that, Trinity Force or Iceborne Gauntlet are the other two options. So you would either go second item, like after Manamune, Trinity Force most of the time if you don't know what to go, but you can go Iceborne Gauntlet when the enemy are really heavy AD, and it's going to make you very hard to kill. Then after that, I'll typically go Serylda's Grudge third, but you could go Blade of the Rune King third instead if the enemy have a lot of Heartsteel builders. Otherwise, you can go Blade of the Rune King fourth item instead, and so Serylda's Grudge / Mortal Reminder third item. And then last item can be Riftmaker or Crown or Guardian Angel, just depending on the game. And so another thing to understand about Ezreal is using your ultimate in lane. So typically just walk into a bush and just ult the enemy in lane like I did there. The reason is because if you land your abilities, your first ability, you will lower the cooldown of your ultimate. So it's important to just spam your ultimate as much as possible for poke on the people or on your laners, because you can just simply get that to come up really quickly by just queuing the wave a lot and focusing on that. So here, my Sona, again, makes a really kind of dumb play, and then the Draven gets a free kill, so that we're not really ahead of the Draven, even though we were winning lane before. But we're just focusing on farming up and making sure we're getting stronger for the later parts of the game. It's also important to make sure you keep stacking up your tier by just using your first ability a lot in lane. Again, it simultaneously stacks your tier and also gets your ultimate up quicker if you land your first ability. That's a very important thing to understand for the early game. But generally speaking, this early game wasn't the most interesting. It was a lot just, farming. And just, again, if I push the wave and control the wave, even in games that don't go super well, we're just able to always kind of get control of the wave and then recall right after. So you see I have a lot of gold here, for example. So I'm going to push the wave as soon as it comes and then immediately look for a recall angle again. And then randomly the Rakan was just sitting in that bush, I guess. He liked looking at me, thought I was cute. So I appreciate that from him. But yeah, so typically if you are able to recall on, say, roughly half of the Manamune finish, or a little bit over half the Manamune finish and Gluttonous Greaves, you're going to be pretty strong for the first dragon fight. If you're ever able to fully get Manamune, you're obviously going to be very strong as well. But typically the strongest point is your two items once you have Muramana fully stacked, and then you also have Trinity Force. That's when your champion really becomes a menace. So that's typically kind of what you're looking for the most part on Ezreal. And before that, you're kind of still a pretty strong early game champion. You're mostly just focused on poke, but you don't really have that insane scaling until 2 items, which a lot of times is going to be second dragon that you're able to get to that point. And then here, they go on my teammates, so I try to trade with them pretty aggressively, and we end up getting a nice little Q there to get the Draven pretty low. And you see how I'm really lenient with my ultimate. Again, I'm just using it to see if I can possibly stop his back or maybe even kill him there. I don't end up hitting it, but I'm perfectly fine with that. And now my team's on the dragon, so I'm just continuing to control the wave. So again, the main thing about Ezreal is just being pretty aggressive and putting yourself in a position to get as much poke as possible, because the champion has a lot of escapes with his third ability. With obviously when you have flash up, you're just a pretty safe champion. So making sure that you utilize the fact that you're very safe to get more aggression and kind of, you know, snowball a bit better. And then when that third ability or your flash are on cooldown, you're going to start to play a bit more passive. But just controlling the waves, having, you know, the wave push, getting a lot of poke on the enemy, that's a lot of the main things that you're really focusing on generally in the lane phase. And then later on in the team fights, a lot of the things that you're focusing on is like when I should use my third ability and just trying to get as much damage out as possible, because Ezreal is really a champion where his like damage per minute is really based around your skill shot accuracy. So it's a lot about skill shot accuracy here, and you're going to see again Draven will go on my team, or Rakan will go on my teammate, and all third ability away. So again, you can bait out engages like the Rakan second ability by utilizing your third ability to dodge it like I did there. And you see again, I go into the bush and I land another ultimate for really good poke onto them there. Just constantly doing that. You can see I permanently have the wave pushed, and so even if I do get ganked here, there's not really going to be a wave or anything for them to get, and we're able to pressure the plates. Again, my Sona does some weird stuff and goes overly aggressive here. So then we're not in the best spot, but I'm still poking. I have my third ability, so you can see how I'm still, you know, able to play relatively aggressive and look for stuff. And then again, Rakan goes on me, so what do? I use my third ability. But then here, what I was trying to do was get into range to exhaust the Draven, because if I exhausted Draven, I actually would be able to kill him there, but I kept like barely being out of range of exhaust, and so then he did way more damage than I thought, and so I died. So that was a big mistake by me, definitely my fault there, 100%. But again, you know, the thought process there was that I can kill him if I exhaust him, and so I saw the angle, went for it, and I messed it up. That's one thing that I definitely think is important, though, is to try to go for angles for kills when you see something, you know, you see the possibility to outplay. It's very important to try to do that to really, like, you know, test your limits. And then here, a lot of people are already topside and there's a free bot wave. And so I decide the game is going really poorly, and this is one of the main things I want to talk about on ADC. When the game is going really poorly and you need to just find gold in yourself, you can go to other lanes or other waves, because at this point, I know we're just going to lose the game if I just sit and just decide to farm. So I'd rather go to another part of the map, try to see if we can make a play there, and then we see a nice little snipe here. We see him backing there, and we get the Lissandra, so that's really nice as well. But we're basically just trying to pressure another turret. Since my teammates were already on the top side wave, I knew that they would be able to clear that themselves, and I wanted to try to make a play somewhere else because I'd be more likely to potentially make something happen and get myself further ahead. So we decided to pressure this turret. That's really the main thing to come back in Wild Rift, is to stack one side of the map. That's a lot of times going to be the best way for you to come back. My teammate kind of ints under the tower there, but we see that we can potentially outplay the Mordekaiser, and so we go for that. And we're just continuing to trade with him here. I try to dodge one of his abilities, and then here we do end up getting the kill in a second with our ultimate here. So that's always good. Again, you see how much gold we created by not only getting multiple waves from the bottom side, almost getting that turret, getting a kill, and then here another nice little outplay when the Zed goes on us here. He ults my teammate, and so I'm trying to snipe him to catch him here. He's 1 HP, but barely doesn't die. But then we're able to get the Lissandra here. Even though I miss a first ability, we still end up barely killing the Lissandra. And so again, the main thing is, as I said, for coming back in games, focus on making plays around other parts of the map, or stacking a certain part of the map with your team. Now, you don't want to just do this all willy-nilly or whenever you feel like it. You have to first have a wave pushed. And so because that top wave was already pushed by my teammates, I had the additional time to go bot side. If that wave wasn't being pushed by anyone, I would have had to go there, because I would be losing out on a lot more gold. But again, because of that fact, I'm now able to get to this power spike, which is what, 2 items like I was talking about. I'm about to stack up my mana immune. You can see it's only 25 mana from being stacked, and I'm hitting Trinity Force. So Trinity Force, mana immune, and boots on second dragon is really your goal. If you're able to get to this power spike, you're going to be extremely strong. And so now at this fight, I'm looking for a potential fight angle to see, even though my team is down 4,000 gold, I know if I'm able to get a lot of damage off in this fight, we might be able to win. And so when my teammate's going, I'm just trying to, you know, get as much poke off as possible. I'm missing a lot of my poke here, but the goal again is to get to the objective early and poke people out as much as you can. And then I'm going to use my ultimate here for wave clear and poke on the opponents as well. So just the main thing when approaching team fights as Ezreal, focus on landing as much poke early on as possible, and just again, make sure that you have the fight starting sort of on your own terms where the enemy are already a bit lower health. But then here I do end up getting caught a little bit, and so then we have to flash out. Not really the best scenario, but because you have your third ability, you can see how you can position more aggressively initially. And then now that my third ability is on cooldown, I'm playing a lot more safe, just over the wall, just trying to get poke on the people, seeing if I can at least grab one kill. Now we do end up grabbing the Mordekaisers, so at least we're able to get one kill there. That's kind of, again, the main thing for these team fights is just aggressive when you do have your third ability up, and then once that's gone, you have to be playing a bit more passive. But even though I didn't necessarily play that super well, we were still able to grab a kill. And then this is another thing you can do. You can look for potential picks on people late in fights with your combo like that. And then we made the Lissandra flash as we tried to go on her. Because of the fact that they have a Zed and I'm ahead early, I am building stasis earlier than I normally would, because I know it'll potentially protect me. And then notice as well how the enemy recalled despite winning that fight. And so we're going to utilize that time to squeeze free gold on the map rather than recalling initially. That's another important thing to do when you are losing and behind in a game, is to squeeze additional gold out of the map when the enemy do recall. We can utilize, again, our tempo advantage there. And then you can see how now we're going for Serolda's here. And now I'm on a very strong power spike once again with the last Whisper, so I know if I see a fight angle, I can still potentially take it. I have been talking a lot lately. I was just coaching someone for like 2 hours, and so now I'm recording this video, so my throat is kind of dry, so I was just taking a sip of water there. But again, Ezreal is a lot of a skill shot based champion, very mechanical champion, so you need to have a lot of games on him. I've probably played over 500 games of Ezreal. Don't really play him much recently, but I saw a good angle for him with the Sona. I kind of like playing Ezreal with like into low range bot lanes, so the enemy had an engaged champion plus a Draven, so very low range. I love playing him into stuff like that. And again, see how I'm trying to bait this guy's third ability? Look at this. I bait his second ability, and then I'm able to third ability immediately after. That's something you have to be able to do, because I get his flash out there. Just you have to be able to bait people with that third ability. It's probably one of the best abilities, frankly, in the entire game, is Ezreal's third ability. And if you're able to do things like that, baiting out different engages, you can just get so much value, so many free spells, so much poke on people, just so many great things. It's such a fun ability, honestly. Ezreal is a really, really cool champion. It has such a high skill cap. And so again, now we recalled again because we wanted some mana and whatever, and now we're just focusing on getting gold. My main focus now is kind of getting to 3 items before third dragon, and at that point I'm going to be quite strong. But the enemy do end up killing my teammate here. And then look at this nice little pick here that we get onto the Zed. Look at that burst damage, dude. It's just so nice. Ezreal has so much good burst damage right now. He's a very strong champion as well. Not only is he really difficult, but if you're able to utilize him really well, he can be one of the best champs in the game as well. And so now again, their enemy jungle is dead, so I know they're not going to do Baron, so I'm just going to focus on farming and getting to that third item spike. I think this is one of the main, and you can see we almost got him too, but then we do get the ultimate on him. I love Ezreal. These ultimates are really funny. So again, whenever the enemy kind of overextend, you just make those aggressive picks on them and then use the ultimate to kind of finish them off. Again, just a lot of skill shot based, you know, a very skill shot based champion. So a lot of this is kind of just repetition and practice here. And then we have a really nice play here that you'll see in a second as well. So I know that I'm very strong right now. And I know Ezreal is going, or Zed is going to ult, so I know if I exhaust him, I'm not going to die. So rather than stasising, I continue to get damage onto him to end up killing him. I look for my ult because I saw someone low there, and then we look for the snipe onto the Lissandra as well. We grab her, and then you're going to see in a second Mordekaiser is going to ult me. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that if I flash his second ability, or his first ability rather, I know that I can then kill him. So you see I flashed that, and then we land the skill shots here with a really nice outplay. Again, recon going in, we're just using our third ability to get further away, and then we stasis, and it's just a really clean play there to really carry the game as well. So this kind of starts turning the game on its head, putting us in a really good position because we're able to get Baron off that and start turning the game around. So again, a lot of the main things and kind of the thing I wanted to share with you guys is if you're looking for a really difficult champion who has like a really high skill cap that you can master and get really, really good at, Ezreal is definitely a good champion for you because you can see the amount of things that you can do on the champion. You can play super aggressive, make a lot of really aggressive plays, utilize that third ability really well to dodge various engages, and just put yourself in a really good position. And then you see how here I'm going Guardian Angel 4th. That's because I'm very strong and they have a Zed, so I know that as long as I don't die, then we're going to be in a good spot. And so now that we do have you know, control over the wave and we're like very strong, we're going to try to just go into the dragon with our Baron and everything and potentially focus on that. But yeah, this is definitely a champion if you're just looking for a really fun skill shot based champion to get really good at. I would recommend Ezreal as one of like the hardest ones, so it's definitely going to take time to learn. but it's very worth it in the long run if you want to also just have a lot of fun. And he is probably, like, I would say the 4th or 5th best ADC in the game right now. He is really strong, so it's also useful for that reason. And then again, just using my ultimate to poke people out, focusing on, you know, just spamming my abilities at this point. We're very ahead, so as long as I don't die and I play pretty safe and just get poke on them, it's going to be pretty straightforward to kind of end the game here. Rakan making some weird engages, but I have that 3rd ability again to get out, so I'm not really too worried about that. Just continuing to focus on the poke and seeing who we can kill, basically. And here, I think we end up grabbing the kill onto Draven. Not quite, actually. It looks like I suck. Do I grab the ultimate? I don't really remember exactly what happened here. Looks like... Oh, again, we dodged the 2nd ability from Rakan. You can see how frequently we've been able to do that. Then we grab the Mordekaiser kill, and then I think I'm able to get on to the Draven here. Yeah. And then lastly, the Zed. And that's pretty much going to be it for the game. So again, a pretty quick snowbally game, despite the game going really bad initially. You guys sort of saw, you know, how rough we started out, but then it didn't really matter in the end, because we were just able to carry by utilizing sort of the fact that one top wave was pushed by my team to then go bot side and stack that bot side wave, get that turret, get that gold for me, which allowed me to get to my 2-item spike, and then snowball the fights from there, just going for the poke. Again, 3rd ability usage, dodging a lot of abilities, really important for Ezreal. Overall, a very high skill champion. So I hope you guys were able to learn a little bit about Ezreal, or enjoyed watching this gameplay, this kind of Ezreal carry as well. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. I hope you enjoyed.